Welcome to MondoCon.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, it was very nice. It was excellent. I apologize in advance to everyone who has to listen to me talk because my Hungarian is not quite there yet. So
Yet.
You're okay.
okay,
It's okay in
it's good to
English.
know.
Okay, so quick question to the audience. Who knows Epic, the musical?
Well,
Yeah,
that's not
nice.
people.
Ah, well,
Okay. And who knows Mircea work? Okay,
There's still
nice.
not some people.
And who knows Smolio's work? Yeah.
what? Oh, whoa. I see.
Okay. Then then you don't need an introduction about Epic. I just wrote some just in case you don't know. So the musical was wrote by Jorge Rivera-Herrans and it's based on Homer's Odyssey. And of course it went viral on TikTok. There are millions of fans and there are lots of animations. So let's look at some animations what you two made, just in case someone doesn't know your work.
I've played your game and won. Release him.
You dare to defy me, to make me feel shame. No one beats me. No one wins my game. Thunder, bring her through the ringer. Show her I'm the judgment call, the one who makes the kingdom fall.
So that was Smolio's work. Big applause. And let's see Mircea's work.
Old friend, it's been 10 years since I last saw you.
Remember me, I am the infamous Odysseus!
Let's see where you've been. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer.
This is mercy upon mercy.
On the wrong move and you're done for. Anything like
Some of past romance, I see the we will take more suffering from you.
drown in your sorrow and fears.
Captain? I have to see her. But we'll die. I know.
Odysseus, where did you go?
So that was Mircea's work. Big applause. Okay. So let's talk a bit about you. How long have you been drawing and working on animation?
Well, I think I started more seriously drawing at the age of 9, I would say, because I saw this very first speed paint. And around maybe 2016, I saw these Hamilton animatics from Jin and Zixua. And that's when I thought that why shouldn't I start? Why shouldn't I try it? Because I can draw to a certain extent. And I think that sparked these two people, and maybe Claudia Kakache, I hope I pronounced the name correctly, who made animatics of the Be More Chill musical too. Yeah, they sparked my interest in animating.
What about you?
I think it first started for me when I was around 6 or 7 years old. Is that my fault? Is that okay? Okay. When I was around 6 or 7 years old, I saw the movie How to Train Your Dragon because it had just come out at the time, and it was the first time that I saw an animated movie, and I went, "Wow, this is so good that I want to draw something about it." And that's probably the first instance I can remember of me making fan art. And then, much like Murchie, many years later, when I got into musical theater, I saw Jin's animatics of Hamilton, because Hamilton was huge at the time. And I did not attempt to do anything the way she did, not for many years and later, but I did keep drawing, and there was always the idea of wanting to do something with that. And then finally, after so many years, when Epic started, when I was still in high school, I decided that, well, I had probably waited long enough and it would be a good time to try and put myself out there. And so you do, and well, here we are.
Nice. Okay, so you answered my other questions too. That was there a movie about? Was there a movie for you that was
For me, not
inspirational?
specifically. For me, it was more like individual animators on YouTube, and the realization that I don't have to have a diploma first before I would start animating, if I can just do it myself.
Okay. Okay, so I had a fun question for you. If you had to describe your animation style using a Greek god, who would it be and why?
I might say Aries,
Aries.
because I feel like
I think
It's-
yours are. Yes.
yes, because I feel like my style might be a bit chaotic at times with all the dynamical clothing movements and such. And also I try to, well, do these camera movements a bit. And also my style faces are a bit more angular than other and might seem aggressive as sometimes. And that's why I feel like it might resemble Aries the most.
Okay, what about you?
Oh, for me, it's easy. I'm going to have to say probably Hephaestus,
Hephaestus?
because I'm very meticulous with my animation. Terrible, terrible perfectionist. And when it comes to crafting every scene, it kind of comes down to having each part moving the way it should, kind of like a well-maintained machine. And it's only when everything works together that the shot comes out the way I would like it to, that I'm satisfied with it. And I do that for everything. It's takes a long time, so long, but it's worth it in the end. It's very satisfying.
Okay. So let's talk about other animators. Who is your, or who are, this is the better question, who are your biggest role models in drawing and animation? Him.
Because
Okay.
like Smulios, I have the luck to see Smulio work a lot of times, and I really love how disciplined he works. And what he said, he basically builds up his animatics from these little pieces and make them work as a giant machine. And I think that's very impressive. Other than him, I would say maybe Neil Illustrator,
Yep.
because of her fight scenes, most likely. And also like Jin, because she introduced me to the world of the animatics alongside Claudia Kakasha.
Thank you.
Easy, easy, easy. First of all, her, because no, I'm serious. Listen to me. The amount of detail that she puts in her animatics is maybe unhealthy at times, but I swear that it's so impressive whenever I get to watch when we're on call working on our own separate stuff, and I get to look over at her stream and see the amount of effort that she's putting into every frame or every line of what she's doing. And I don't understand it. I couldn't do it myself, but it's impressive. It makes you want to do better, kind of thing. And then as far as other influences, you have, well, there's of course Gigi and Wolfie the Witch. Wolfie the Witch is actually who got me into Epic, because back in around 2023, they posted a Full Speed Ahead animatic, and that's the first one I saw during some boring class in school, and I was like, oh, this looks interesting, I should check this out. And so without that, I probably wouldn't know about Epic until much later. And then there is Jin, who's of course responsible for the original Hamilton animatics. And then Neil Illustrator, because obviously. And the same goes for Claudia Chakache. It's who's absolutely brilliant. Their Be More Chill animatics are actually one of the earliest ones that I saw along with Jin's. So it's I also regard them as a very early pillar of my artistic development and inspiration. Same as her.
It's fun fact, but the first animation I saw about Epic was Wolfie's Warrior of the Mind, and the second one was yours.
First I saw was her Survive. There was Full Speed Ahead, and then I immediately went and checked for more, and there was your Survive.
I'm honored.
I'm on. Like, what do you want me to say?
Okay, how did you find out about Epic the Musical? So you answered that one.
Please, ladies first.
Oh, for me, it's pretty funny. If someone doesn't know it, I've been in the fandom from maybe 2022, the very beginning of 2022, because back in 2021, when I was still at high school, we were learning about the Odyssey, and back then, mobile phones weren't restricted in school, and so the built-in voice tracking system that is, we all know it's there. I think it heard my teacher say Odysseus' name over and over, and on TikTok one day, I think the snippet of Little Wolf just popped up, and my first reaction is that is good. And I was trying to find out I saw the hashtags, and I tried to find out what Epic the Musical is. I searched it up on the internet, but I found nothing. And I just thought, oh yeah, this might be a musical that is not popular here in Hungary. So I just moved on for a while. And maybe a few months later, I saw Charybdis, and that's when I checked Jorge's website, TikTok site, and decided to follow him because I knew this will be something great.
You already told us that it was the first one was Wolfie's.
Oh yeah, there were. It kind of it hits you from everywhere at once because that was right when it got popular, and suddenly you couldn't go anywhere on the internet without bumping into something from Epic the Musical, and so yeah, I've said my piece.
Yeah. How did you get in touch with Jorge?
Another funny story. For me, it was during school year. Even before the very first version of the Troy Saga was released, I was in the Epic Discord server, and we were kind of in touch, just with a few conversations there, and he saw my very first Open Arms animatic as well. And one evening, or may I say night, from Tuesday to Wednesday, when I had like 6 more hours to sleep before school, or even less, I was working on my Warrior of the Mind animatic in the Discord server, and I was streaming. And back then, the Discord server was kind of smallish, and Jorge used to spend plenty of time in the general chats. And so he joined the call, joined the stream, and while I was drawing, I saw my phone flash up beside me and saw the Instagram notification that Jay Herrans wants to send you a message. And that was like the first time he asked whether I would like to work with him, or even if I just do commissions and such.
I must have been at work one day doing something not interesting. It was when I'd started posting 1 or 2 snippets from the earliest parts of my Puppeteer animatic around February of last year that I started it. And then I remember 2 or 3 months later, I was at work one afternoon and my phone just buzzed, and I was bored and a bit lazy that day. So I checked it, and I kind of freaked out because he'd just written me on TikTok to say that that he was super impressed with my work, and if I wanted, I could participate in the promotional material for the next saga. And that actually became, it wasn't shown here, but that was actually, I did the Scylla segment, the first 30 seconds, and then I storyboarded the whole action sequence then, that Elianzis then finished because there wasn't enough time for me to do everything. But yeah, no, it was excellent. It was
That is an amazing storyboard, by the way.
it's
Sila Sin is also amazing. Because he wrote that it was the puppeteer was what Jorge saw, I just took a little snippet in here.
absolutely.
So let's watch it together.
Take a seat. Let me bring you all something to eat. I bet you're tired from the years spent on your feet. I've got you, don't worry, Sassy's got you now.
By the time they ate, it was far too late. For inside the meal,
Think of your past
she had cast a spell.
and your mistakes.
They began to squeal
They'll be the
and grow
last
snouts and tails.
mistakes you'll make.
She changed them.
I've got all the power, yeah. I've got all the power. No, I'm not a player, I'm a puppeteer. No, I don't play, I'm puppeteer, yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
That's by far the bit I'm proudest of.
May I say it's epic?
Of course.
Boo.
Okay, so there's another fun question. Which character from Epic was the most fun to animate? And which gave you nightmares?
Well, I feel like we should start with the positive stuff. For me, the most fun was probably my fan work, Polyphemus. Because, like, I kind of like how humanoid he turned out and how animalistic he moves. And also the ocean mouth was pretty fun to animate as well, even though I got a pretty weird comments about it. But overall, most people liked or him. And the other very fun was the twerking minion, which I don't know how many people know this, but this was actually an inside joke from the Discord server, started by Jorge himself. Oh, it was good old times, honestly. Because if I remember correctly, it was because of SpongeBob twerking gifs he used to send in the chats. And somehow the fans and him too started joking about it. What if the minions in Keep Your Friends Fools just twerked in the background? And that's why I decided, what if we put that the twerking minion, which is by the way from the official Time Dive animatic on Aeolus' leg. I asked him, what if we put it in there just for fun and see how many people would notice it?
Many people noticed it. And I believe that the minions got to be the couple of pets or the mascots of
Oh
Epic.
yeah, yes.
Okay, so what about you?
Yes. I think, should I talk about the official musical or more what I do for myself as well?
You can do about your work or
Okay,
it
perfect.
both.
So in the official animatics, the character that I probably enjoyed the most to animate had to be, well, the simplest at any rate was Zeus in the God Games animatic. His design is fairly bare bones, it's not too complicated, but the character that I prefer most to animate for myself has got to be Eurylochus. I like his design, I like to draw big characters, and his anatomy can be kind of rounded and squarish in those are contradictory. I meant rounded and blocky at the same time. But overall, I don't think there are any characters I did. Athena's. I'm sorry.
Athena, yes.
No offense. Athena's design is a bit of a headache to animate, especially in more complicated scenes.
Because of the skirt. Personally, for me, skirts are very difficult to draw, especially when they are made of metal feathers. But I feel like because this design was based on my fan design and it was like worked over by, I think, Julia. She made a few still drawings for the musical. And basically that's kind of both of our designs meshed together. But overall, I pretty much like this design, honestly. Even if it's difficult to draw.
I think it looks pretty for sure. It's just that, especially the skirt was awful for me personally. But overall, I think Athena has one of the best canon designs in Epic, in my opinion. It's nothing wrong there from a character design standpoint.
I agree. Let's move on. Okay. Was there an initial artistic vision for Epic's visual world? Or how did it evolve during the animation process? Let's talk about that.
I kind of feel like this is a question Jorge could probably answer best. But I feel like I can only repeat him from his videos how he wanted this anime world and also make it epic, as you would say. How did it evolve during the animation process? Well, because he worked with so many artists, I feel like he gave them a free hand to like move in their own pace when it came to the process. Anything to add?
I think that it is commendable that when he was commissioning artists for animatics for the musical, it is pleasant that he gave them as much freedom as he did, but there would have been points where it might have been more helpful if he had had more precise things in mind. For example, for the Scylla animatic, he did know what he wanted me to do, but then for God Games, I kind of figured out what to draw for myself based on the music that was going on. He said that he trusted me with it, which was nice. But overall, it's to convey the energy that is present in the songs. I find that for me personally, both in my commission work and my personal work, you try to always keep an element of movement in any scene that you're in, because the music itself is so upbeat and lively that it helps to avoid static shots, and you can kind of convey the liveliness of the music through the liveliness and movement of the scenes that you draw. I get ahead of myself, I apologize.
First, when the musical came to life, so the first songs came out, you even had more freedom, and as it evolved, then there became some canonizations of the character, wasn't it?
Yes, I think it was kind of midway into the musical around the Circe saga. He decided to make canon designs, or even after that, maybe around the Underworld saga or the Thunder saga, because that's when you can see these turquoise and beige color on Odysseus. Before that, the commissioned artists were using their own design. For example, my Dumfor commissioned animatic uses my designs, and also my Goodbye animatic uses my Odysseus design, but already the official Athena design. So I think that's as much for evolving around the visual world.
And as you said that you have to make it always dynamic, so it
does help, certainly.
Resonate with the musical's dynamics too. So you answered my other question too.
I apologize. I got a little bit
okay.
ahead of the question.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. You can say whatever you want, and then that's okay. Okay, let's move on a bit. There is a lot of symbolism in the musical as well as in the visuals. Can you walk us through some? I'm gonna.
Oh yes. Oh well.
Sit here.
What kind of hidden meanings? I would talk about the official kind of glass floor that Athena's hourglass has, which contains Medusa's head and the spider, which kind of a callback to the mythology that Athena is in, like cursing Medusa and Arachne as well. And of course, we can see the boar on the top of this glass floor, which is like a reference to Warrior of the Mind, and we can also see like Athena's most well-known symbol, which is the owl. And I kind of try to place the spears as V for victory, because Athena is kind of a character who can never lose, basically. And I brought another symbolism from my fan work, which is the apple, and this is actually the apple of discord that Paris gave to Aphrodite back at the wedding, which started the Trojan War. But sadly, I made a mistake that Polites throws this apple to Odysseus in open arms, in the open arms animatic, and 90% of the comments under my open arms video is how Polites proposed to Odysseus.
Yeah.
Yes, that was. I had in mind everything I wanted to say, and then she talked about that, and it was like, I think based on the slides, I was going to say that in my animatic, there is an association, for example, between Circe and animals for a layer of symbolism, and many artists tend to lean toward the aspect where she's associated with the lions, and she's a lioness, but I personally preferred the idea that she and her nymphs would more function like a pack of wolves instead, because it's a little bit more Mediterranean sometimes than lions might be. And then her nymphs and her would function more like a pack of wolves, and as I tried to keep the wolf motif present in every scene of the animatic where after her true nature had been revealed to the men, and from every point after that there's a wolf in the scene with her. It is a small thing. I'm not so good with subtext always or putting hidden meaning and stuff, but that one does come to mind.
Okay. Another question. How many of Greek mythology or Homer's Odyssey was did you use as inspiration, or how free was your imagination during the process?
When I work, I try to show the mythological elements in my designs. I look up the stories of certain characters and try to like refer to them through, for example, clothing or hat pieces or just jewelry. And maybe for me, just the designs.
I think the answer would be as close as I can possibly stay to the source material. I try to. Because Epic is an interesting one because it is distinct from the Odyssey, but it does pull so much inspiration from the mythology that it's based on. So when I personally look into making animatics for it, I beg your pardon?
Jetpack.
We had an agreement that we were going to come up here and she was going to bring a baseball bat. And if I talk about the windbag, she was going to beat me unconscious.
Why are you lying?
And okay, so where were we? The Odyssey, the source material. It's I try to stay as close to it, even though it's a bit difficult with Epic because it is very distinct from the Odyssey in many ways. But it does, when making animatics, you can't ignore what it's based on either. So it is a bit difficult at times to find the compromise between the two. For example, I'll just say I'm working on a done-for animatic and have been for a while now. And in the Odyssey, the fight between Circe and Odysseus with their magic powers doesn't really happen. That's not how it plays out. And so now my job as an animator is to find a way that the two versions can coexist without feeling too distant from one another. And I try and do that with every song. I'm working on Ruthlessness, and then there is Get in the Water and 600 Strike, and it's a challenge sometimes. It is. But I think it's worth it, and I'm quite proud of the final product when I manage.
It's definitely worth it for the happiness of people.
there are some people who can't distinct the Odyssey from Epic, but Jorge said many interviews that it's only just a base, and he's gonna go other ways with it.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel like more people know just the music than maybe Jorge himself. Maybe some people don't even know that he wrote the musical and therefore don't follow him on TikTok and might not even know that he said that.
It is frustrating, and well, I won't go into details. Between artists who all of the epic artists that you know and that you enjoy, we all know each other. We're in a Discord server together. So it is. That was a secret. They're gonna come for me now. But it is difficult to know how to approach the people who have an interest in the Greek mythology, but then also are less interested in doing their own research and understanding the truth and the base of things, and instead are content to listen to secondhand information or things that have been repeated many times by many different people. And in the end, it's difficult to differentiate what can be accurate and what isn't.
If you ask me personally, I think the second-handed informations and misinformation spread on TikTok the mostly. Because we saw that, for example, on Instagram and maybe on YouTube, you can't find these comments at all.
I was going to say, maybe in conclusion, just do your own research. Learn it for yourselves. They're excellent myths. It's a lot of fun, I promise.
Yeah. But I actually have to say that one of Jorge's achievements with this musical is that many people gave a chance to Homer's Odyssey and the Iliad.
Oh yeah, Epic got me into Greek mythology.
Okay. What were some of the most technically complex scenes to animate, and why?
I probably would say the official term for animatic, because back then I didn't really have animator software. This animatic was made with two softwares, which was Paint Tool Sai, I think I need to pronounce it like that, and Hit Film Express. So I drew the pictures in the painting program, and then had to convert each piece and PNGs and backgrounds separately into the other program, and then time it to the music again. And for me, probably that is why it was technically the most difficult. But luckily, I could switch to Clip Studio Paint, which has a proper animator section. So now it might be easier to work.
Well, Murchie is better than me because I don't think I could have done all that. But I will say that one of my favorite scenes to look at now, and the one that I hated most to animate, is the one on the screen now. Because every different layer of movement that you see is an element that was animated separately. I think there are 4 different layers. Yes. There was background, and then the layers go in order of how light versus how dark they are. And every different color is a different layer that I had to animate and then put together. So I'm very proud of it. I think it looks very nice, but wow, it took me a long time.
For me, it seems more difficult to handle.
How long does it take for you to make a whole animation?
well, depends how many other things we need to do in real life. Like it can take from a week to even a year. Like if I remember correctly, Puppeteer took about a year to animate.
Puppeteer took me 10-ish months, but the reason it took so long was because I worked for about 2 months on it while I was moving into a house, and then Jorge commissioned me once, and then I picked it up again for a little while, and then I had to move house again, and then he commissioned me again, and then I finished it in January, but I think altogether it would have taken me maybe 3 months of good work. And Done For that I'm working on now is going much faster, but I did get commissioned again in between.
But also, if we crunch the work together, then, for example, a minute animatic, which, for example, my time dive, that was made in 2 weeks with 12 hours of constant work.
That's impressive. Nice. Okay. Could you share us some fun facts or Easter eggs of your animation?
Oh, I love Easter eggs. I have a bunch. I probably start with these are all from my fan works. I would start with the Polyphemus one, which we can see it on the top right, which is you can see on the bottom how Odysseus puts the lotus in the water or wine, if you look closely. But I knew that many people would look at Polyphemus because he is the interesting character here and how he moves around. And I was waiting how many people would notice that little detail of Odysseus, and some do, and that makes me very happy. Under it is a shot from my Keep Your Friends Close animatic, which contains, in the background, it contains most of my, actually not most because I have a bunch of OCs. These are some of my OCs from my original story because I found it fun and I was lazy to make more individual faces for an animatic, so I just kind of recycled them. And then on the left, this is also from my Keep Your Friends Close animatic, and those are all individual minion mascots. You can see mine as well in the very far top right. I call them Illustra. By the way, they have a big pencil and such. And these minions, these individual minions, are from a parody team that we used to work together with on epic parodies, and it pulls back a lot of memory.
Well, I have a fun fact, and then we'll go to the Easter egg. When I had to redraw every single background for the first 90 seconds of my animatic after I finished it. I didn't like the way it had looked, and because we discussed that it took me so long, my art style changed over the time. And then when I watched the beginning versus the end in 4 minutes that it runs, I decided that I had to go back and start from the beginning to fix the backgrounds at the first part. And that's, you have to do that sometimes, it's no biggie. Now for Easter egg, there is a lot that is going on with this nymph that I still have planned. It's all going to play out in Done For, and then there are other ways after that. But I already have it all figured out. You can see that in my animatic, which isn't shown here, of course, as the men are turning into pigs, and while Circe is deceiving the men into coming into her palace, there is an element of distrust in this nymph. And you might think that maybe she regrets or she questions Circe's methods and whether it needs to be so needlessly cruel if the men are going to die anyway, whether it might not be better to simply kill them instead of bringing them into the palace and putting everyone in danger again after things that have happened in the past. And so you can see, I just put it there, it's a little thing, but she's also very distrustful of the men, and after, there's no pity in her. It's more it is more an element of she wants everyone to stay safe, but she doesn't care for outsiders. But that will come up later.
Yeah, that's a nice touch. Okay. I run out of questions, so if the audience have questions, you are welcome to do so, and we will have the mic. Does anybody have questions? I have a... Okay. I think I'm gonna just go down and give the mic to them.
Hey, hi. Just a quick question for Mirci. Jorge mentioned the twerking Winyan multiple times in his videos. One of which was telling us to ask scammers that tell them that it's him to ask about the twerking Winyan's name. Can you give us the name of the twerking Winyan, please?
I'm sorry, but I barely understood it because of the quality of the speakers.
Sorry.
They never really had a name. Everyone just called it twerking Vinyan. But there is one main Vinyan who is Bom Bom. They were Jorge's Vinyan, and Bom Bom had a best friend, Jimothy, if I remember correctly, who was the official Discord server emote artists Vinyan. They are called Fable. So if you guys are in the Discord server and you see the new emotes, those are made by Fable, who also made the original Vinyan designs. I hope this answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you. This is more about the process of animation rather than the musical. How did you learn to animate and to draw? What was the process like?
I think I watched, in the very beginning, I watched a bunch of tutorial videos of how to treat the folders, the animation folders and the normal folders, because those are two different things. About drawing, how to learn to draw, I would say be patient, practice, and try not to jump out the window if you mess up. Do you have any advice?
Well, it will sound strange, but I think the thing about animation that I would tell you is you're going to have to do it if you want to do it. See, I waited many years because I used to watch on YouTube everybody's animatics and think that they look so good, and compared to that, mine would be bad, or no one would care for mine, or no one would watch them. And I think I lost a lot of valuable years that I could have spent getting my work online or on the internet. And a thing I would tell you is that no matter how bad you think it is, you need to do it. You've got to. And it's not going... And you'll improve with time. You will improve with time. But...
And also, it helps if you watch, more experienced animators. Because you can learn a lot from them. For example, I didn't even know Clip Studio had camera movements section until I met Smulio. And to watch him work, and then I realized that this could make my work so much easier if I used it.
Thank you.
Well, what are friends for? But yes, watch tutorials.
So my question is, other than each other's designs, did you have any other inspiration for Athena's design?
Well, let's see. I think my Athena design is mostly based on the mythology, because back then I knew just about the owl. I did not know about for example, the spider or the snakes. And back then I feel like I was a bit more close-minded, and I didn't do research back then. So I just followed my own head mostly.
For me, I don't really have an Athena design that's public yet, so I don't answer.
I want to ask if you will be working on Ilium animatics.
That depends on Jorge. If he wants to commission us and we will have the time, then I feel like I would return, because Jorge is very respectful and also very sweet to work with. For example, when I worked on my very last epic animatic, which was from Hold Them Down, that one section, he was messaging me on Discord whether I'm comfortable animating this. So I would definitely return if he commissioned me for Ilium.
Yeah, same. Me too, gladly.
Thank you.
Oké. Ha szeretnétek kérdezni, magyarul is lehet, és akkor fordítom szívesen. Van még kérdés? Oké. Ide jövök először.
So it will be a little weird question, but can you tell me why did you choose the song that you animate first? So,
like fan work, animatic, or official ones. Okay. Yeah, for like my first commission animatic was the Dawn 4 animatic, and to do that I had to wait like a year because this was this issue with Jorge and the corporation he worked with. But for official one, that was my first. And the first fan made was my Open Arms animatic, which was made back in 2023, if I remember correctly. And that was made in like a week because back then it gave me so much inspiration that I just had to, I just had to animate it.
I think that the first official one I did was Scylla, but we don't really choose the songs we animate on. It was more that Jorge, or me at least, he approached me saying, I have these empty parts of this song, and you can pick which of them you want to animate. That was how it worked for me.
For me, I had ones that I could choose back then when I was working on a time dive animatic. The other one I could choose from was maybe something from Little Wolf, but then I decided to choose time dive because why not?
Why would you?
Because I'm a masoch.
But then no, it worked like that with I almost did another one besides God Games. He messaged me whether I wanted to animate a monster like that. He didn't tell me Scylla. He was like, hey Smulio, so do you like animating monsters? And I was like, oh, I'm gonna get to do Scylla, won't I? And then for God Games, I could go back through our messages, but I think I had the choice between God Games and a section of Calypso's song. And so I really wanted to animate the bit where like Luke gets all loud and shouty, so I went with that one.
Well, I'm glad you choose God Games.
But honestly, I don't know how I made it with he wanted to split that section, the God Games section, between two different artists because there were only 19 days to do it, and he had contacted Annie Flamma, but she wasn't going to do it in 19 days. So that was an interesting 3 weeks because I was moving to a different department as well, so look, it's fine. I managed. I'm alive, okay? It was fun. Fuck it.
We have a question here that what do you think about the fun animatics of Epic?
Pardon me?
What do you think about the fun animatics of Epic?
Oh, there are a few that actually many are very good. Like just a few weeks ago,
dude, Pimpitch.
Pimpitch, yes. There are other ways. Animatic is, and all the designs, like for example, Cersei with the mix of this lioness is genius. and also how there are like tree nymphs or plant nymphs pulling up Odysseus when Circe sings about the underground. It's very impressive.
Oh, it's outstanding.
And the backgrounds of that one.
The background, a couple of them look like paintings. I was so impressed, especially since Pim told me when I was messaging them that they hadn't really done that before. It's this was kind of their first crack at animation, but I think they did great. And fan animatics are pretty amazing, honestly. Like, I think I prefer most. For every song, I have my favorite animatic, and it's not usually anything to do with the canon one, is it?
And also, I think it's very impressive how many fan animatics Epic has, because if you look at like Hamilton or Be More Chill, Hades Town, and many other musicals, there aren't this many.
Dude, it's crazy. Like, for every song, for Hamilton, we had Jin, and that was kind of it.
And Zixua. That person.
I found out about them later, but I didn't know. For me, it was just Jin back in the day. And then for Heather's, there were a couple, also a little bit of Jin. But for Epic, it's insane because for every song, you can like pick between 3 or 4 different animatics and take your favorite. This is the best any fandom has had it in musical history, honestly. I think they're great. It's outstanding.
The fandom is very spoiled by animatics.
Maybe it's because it's not restricted to the ones you saw already on stage, because it was never on stage. So everyone's imagination can go wild.
Exactly that. I think I wanted to find a way to say this, but I think one of the most important things for Epic's popularity was the fact that it's such an auditory experience that it helps your mind imagine things with sound effects and different dialogues and stuff that you wouldn't necessarily have with other musicals that are more created to be performed in song and dance on a stage. But Epic doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah. Okay, we have time for one last question. If anyone there? Okay.
So, what is the hardest part of making money of animation or any creative job in general?
Very good question.
Burnout.
That one is difficult to answer because neither of us has animation as a job, as a stable job. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like occasional money for now. But for example, if you do it as Neil Illustrator, who is a professional, or one of our mutual friend, Ardenzea777, who is also a professional artist, well, they can make very good money.
Oh yeah, but I couldn't imagine, at least not currently, having animation as my whole stable job. It's very mentally and creatively demanding. And already as a hobby, it's something, but as a job, I don't know if I could do it.
You need to be very workaholic to do it.
Noemi, I think I saw someone ask for a question in the first row. Could I pass them my microphone?
Okay. Did someone have time? Can you come here? So I don't.
Good job.
It's for Mirchi. What was your inspiration for Polyphemus design, and why did you go with that design instead of just a simple Cyclops?
Honestly, I was very bored with the classic Cyclops design. And for him, I knew these facts about Poseidon, how Poseidon created the horses. He's the god of the sea. Polyphemus is the son of Poseidon. And actually, I forgot to say it in foreshadowing. But for example, Polyphemus's design foreshadows Poseidon himself. And I saw it in comments how he resembles a crab. I didn't even think about that when I was doing it. But I feel like I wanted to do something which is kind of terrifying. But also, for me, he's not pretty terrifying. And also the mouth is something that I just wanted to change it from the typical like human mouth or every animal's mouth, because I wanted to do something surprising mostly.
Merch is a lot more creative than me that way. I'm far more happy to stick to classical designs that are well documented and stuff.
Yeah, but the Cyclops was epic. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, so we run out of time. Thank you all for coming. And don't forget that from 4 o'clock, we are going to have a meet and greet outside Pavilion D, but we can meet here next to the panel stage at 4, and we can walk together there. We can find a nice spot to talk a bit. So if you want, you can ask your questions further there. And for now, thank you for coming and attending to this panel.
Thank you so much for having us.
Excellent. And thank you for your attention.